Live from New Delhi, you're watching DT India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Los Angeles fires rage on, people advised to stay indoors as air quality deteriorates. Crude prices jump as the US imposes sweeping sanctions against Russian oil industry. And defending champion Sabalenka faces Stephens in the Australia Open in Melbourne. The devastating wildfires in California has killed at least 11 people, destroyed 10,000 buildings, caused evacuation of over 180,000 people. The massive fire burning since Tuesday has resulted in a damage of some $150 billion spread to residential areas. The blaze had engulfed a neighborhood of Hollywood that was also evacuated. Later, the order was lifted on Thursday morning after fire in the hills were brought under control. Californians on Friday demanded to know who is at fault for the vast devastation as a strict curfew went into force to prevent looting and lawlessness.
I think it's a combination of 50-50, you know, government could have done a better job. Maybe they were to blame, also nature, climate change. Too many fingers to point at this moment that I don't have time, you know, more so thinking about where am I going to live? Because even if our building is standing, there's nothing nearby. The air quality is terrible. I feel for people who don't have the privilege like me to be okay and feel safe. And I mean, it's just one thing after another. They won't let us breathe.
Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden affirmed full support of the White House in response to the ongoing fires and its impact.
We still got a long way to go, as we're out to hear from the governor and others. And while the winds have died down for the time, we expect they'll remain a threat until early next week. So we're going to keep working 24/7 to support state and local officials to fully stop these fires as soon as possible.
The officials issued air quality alerts and urged people to stay indoors in areas where smoke was visible. Schools cancelled classes. Scientists warned about fatal consequences of the wildfire smoke. Environmentalists and doctors warned that particulate matter posed hazard to people with pre-existing lung and heart conditions, as well as elderly and children. Moving on, South Korea's transport ministry revealed that flight recorders on Jeju Air flight stopped recording 4 minutes before its crash at Ma Airport on December 29th, killing 179 people. The airliner belly landed, overshot the runway and exploded after striking a concrete embankment. Investigators are analyzing why the black boxes malfunctioned with the voice recorder and damaged flight data recorder sent to the US for detailed examination. The pilots reported a bird strike and declared an emergency moments before the crash. 2 injured crew members seated in the tail section were rescued from the wreckage. The United States and Britain on Friday imposed new sanctions targeting Russian energy sector, including Russian oil majors Gazprom and Neft and Segutnefgaz. The UK's shipping sanctions prohibit the vessel's movement and access to some British ports. The move aims to give Kiev and Donald Trump's incoming team leverage to reach a deal for peace in Ukraine and cut Russia's revenues. The sanctions are part of a broader effort as Biden administration has furnished Ukraine with $64 billion in military aid since the invasion, including $500 million this week for air defense missiles and support equipment for fighter jet. US President Joe Biden said new sanctions will substantially raise gas prices and would profoundly impact Russian economy and reduce Putin's war chest.
Sanctions are imposed today because they will have profound effect on the growth of the Russian economy and make it more difficult for Putin to conduct his wars. It is probable that gas prices could increase as much as 3-4 cents a gallon, but it's going to have a more profound impact on Russia's ability to continue to act in the way it's acting in the conduct of war.
And this announcement comes just 10 days before Biden is due to step down and puts President-elect Donald Trump's incoming team some leverage to reach a deal for peace in Russia-Ukraine conflict. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, meanwhile, thanked his U.S. counterpart Joe Biden for his unwavering support. Biden administration has been steadfast in its support for Ukraine, announcing almost $6 billion in new military and budget assistance last month ahead of Trump's return. President Biden raced to provide as much aid to Kiev as possible ahead of President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration on January 20th. Amid fears, the Republican leader will slash support for U.S. ally once in power. After the announcement of the United States and Britain on sanctions against Russia's energy sector, global oil price jumped over 3%, with Brent crude nearing $80 a barrel. As a document mapping out the sanctions circulated among traders in Europe and Asia, as Russia pumps around 10% of global oil supply, the sanctions would cause severe disruption to Russian oil trade to its biggest buyers like India and China. The U.S. Treasury rescinded a provision that had exempted the intermediation of energy payments from sanctions on Russian banks. The sanctions should cost Russia billions of dollars per month if sufficiently enforced. As Donald Trump's threat of annexation of Greenland to the U.S. raises eyebrows across the globe, Prime Minister of the world's biggest island, Mute Egde, has raised voice for independence. Both Denmark and Greenland, however, express willingness to engage with the U.S. President-elect.
Donald Trump's idea to annex Greenland has sparked new controversy in Europe. The Greenland Prime Minister, Mute Egde, stood firm, insisting that Greenland's future will be determined by its people.
We don't want to be Danes, we don't want to be Americans, we want to be Greenlandic, and of course it is the Greenlandic people who decide their future.
Egde's remarks came as he met Denmark Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen in Copenhagen and deliberated upon the impact of Trump's statement. Later, both leaders addressed a joint press conference and revealed their own understanding of the situation. Greenland Prime Minister said, however, that he was open to talk to Trump in this regard. Denmark, which governs Greenland, said Greenland's sovereignty remains non-negotiable.
And when it comes to the question of independence, I would like to reiterate that in our eyes, it is a decision that starts and ends in Nuuk and in Greenland. Greenland belongs to the Greenlandic people and no one else.
Earlier, many European leaders, including German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, French President Emmanuel Macron and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni have also voiced their concerns, with Scholz reiterating that borders should never be moved by force. Meloni, on the other hand, ruled out the possibility of the US using force to annex Greenland, calling Trump's remarks a message to China. As climate change opens up new shipping routes, the Arctic is increasingly becoming a geopolitical battleground. However, the question remains, will Greenland's sovereignty will be unchallenged or will geopolitical pressures reshape its future? Bureau Report, DD India.
Court have signaled skepticism towards challenge brought by the video sharing platform TikTok, as it seeks to overturn a law that would force the app's sale or ban it by January 19th. Friday's hearing is the latest in a legal saga that has pitted the US government against ByteDance, TikTok's parent company, in a battle over free speech and national security concerns. The law in question was signed in April, declaring that ByteDance would face a deadline to sell its US shares or face a ban. TikTok users have challenged the law's constitutionality, arguing that banning the app would limit their free speech rights. During Friday's oral arguments, the Supreme Court seemed swayed by the government's position that the app enables China's government to spy on Americans and carry out covert influence operations. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro was sworn in the third term in a ceremony, but it was decreed as illegitimate by the opposition, many countries in the West. His challenger in July's election, Edmundo Gonzalez, recognized by the United States and much of Latin America as the legitimate winner, said Maduro had crowned himself a dictator and staged a coup. Washington and London issued a levy of sanctions on Maduro's regime, with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken slamming the inauguration as illegitimate. In a sign of Maduro's isolation, only two prominent regional leaders, Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel and Nicaraguan ex-guerrilla Daniel Ortega, attended his inauguration. Russian President Vladimir Putin sent his congratulations. Brazil's government announced on Friday officials in neighboring Venezuela have ordered the country's shared border temporarily closed, hours after Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro was sworn in for a new term after months-long election dispute. The announcement was made in a statement from Brazil's foreign ministry, which noted that border closure will remain in place through next Monday. Brazil's President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has not officially recognized Maduro as the winner of last July's contested election, and the leftist leader did not comment on Maduro on Friday. The International Monetary Fund (IMF) will forecast steady global growth and continuing disinflation when it releases an updated World Economic Outlook on January 17th. IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva said that U.S. economy was doing quite a bit better than expected, although there was high uncertainty around the trade policies of the administration of President-elect Donald Trump that was aiding headwinds facing the global economy and driving long-term interest rates higher. In October, the IMF raised its 2024 economic growth forecast for the US, Brazil and Britain, but cut them for China, Japan and the Eurozone, citing risks from potential new trade wars, armed conflicts and tight monetary policy. Ahead of the UK-China Economic and Financial Dialogue meeting, British Finance Minister Rachel Reeves began a visit to China's Beijing on Saturday. During her visit, Reeves met China's Vice President Han Zheng. Under pressure from market turmoil in the UK, the visit aims to redraw economic and financial cooperation between both the countries. Finance Minister Reeves is expected to meet her Chinese counterpart, He Lifeng, for the economic and financial talks later in the day. And still to come on this edition of TT India Live. Prayagraj all decked up for Maha Kumbh Mela. Ayodhya is celebrating first anniversary of the Ram Temple Pran Pratishtha. And tragedy in a coal mine in Assam's Dima Hasao region, 3 bodies recovered out of 9 trapped miners.
As India goes through its development journey, India wishes to get the diaspora on board, make them stakeholders in this growth journey.
Prasar Bharati Divas 2025, the grand convention that brought the diaspora on one platform. The diaspora's contribution to Viksit Bharat or developed India.
You have been an integral part of our culture, now become a part of India's growth story.
Watch the biggest highlights of the Prasar Bharati Divas 2025 only on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Ayodhya is celebrating the first anniversary of Ram Temple Pran Pratishtha ceremony. The Ram Janmabhoomi Temple, inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on January 22nd, 2024, marks 1 year since its operations began. Celebrations are taking place from today to 13th of this month, with Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath attending the event. The Janmabhoomi Tirth Kshetra Trust revealed that over 200,000 devotees visited the temple on 1st January. The month of January also holds immense significance, with the Mahakumbh in Prayagraj also drawing massive crowds to Ayodhya. And India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended his best wishes to all the devotees on the first anniversary of the consecration of Ram Lalla in Ayodhya. He writes on X, and I quote, "The temple, built after centuries of sacrifice, penance and struggle, is a great heritage of our culture and spirituality. I'm confident that this divine and magnificent Ram temple will become a great inspiration in the accomplishment of the resolution of a developed India."
ये कैलेंडर पर लिखी एक तारीख नहीं, ये एक नए काल चक्र का उद्गम है। सदियों की प्रतीक्षा के बाद, अनगिनत बलिदान, त्याग और तपस्या के बाद हमारे प्रभु राम आ गए। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, ये संकल्प हम सदियों से दोहराते आए। उसी संकल्प को राम मंदिर के रूप में साक्षात आकार मिला है। तुझसे ही तो है शक्ति मेरी रामा। ये मंदिर मात्र एक देव मंदिर नहीं है, ये भारत की दृष्टि का, भारत के दर्शन का, भारत के दिग्दर्शन का मंदिर है। तुझ में ही तो है भक्ति मेरी, तुझसे ही तो है शक्ति मेरी। ये राम के रूप में राष्ट्र चेतना का मंदिर है। ये भव्य राम मंदिर साक्षी बनेगा भारत के उत्कर्ष का, भारत के उदय का। ये भव्य राम मंदिर साक्षी बनेगा भव्य भारत के अभ्युदय का, विकसित भारत का। राम जय राम, राम जय राजा राम, राम जय राम, राम जय राम, राम जय। ये मंदिर सिखाता है कि अगर लक्ष्य सत्य प्रमाणित हो, सामूहिकता और संगठित शक्ति से जन्मा हो, तब उस लक्ष्य को प्राप्त करना असंभव नहीं है। गुलामी की मानसिकता को तोड़कर उठ खड़ा हो राष्ट्र, अतीत के हर दंश से हौसला लेता हुआ राष्ट्र ऐसे ही नव इतिहास का सृजन करता है। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय।
And Prayagraj, one of the sacred pilgrimage sites in North India, is gearing up for Mahakumbh 2025, which is set to begin on the 13th of this month. DD India Siddharth Bharadwaj takes stock of the medical facilities put in place by the administration at the site.
We are at a temporary medical camp set up by the authorities to ensure safety and health of all the pilgrims who will be participating in this grand event. So here, with the help of the QR code, the patients who are coming here can easily get themselves registered. The registration process is very simple. As you can see, the QR code which has been put up here, in 4 simple steps a patient can register themselves. In fact, to deal with any emergency situation, a 24-hour emergency room has also been set up here. This temporary medical facility at Mahakumbh 2025 is a comprehensive setup featuring 32 around fully equipped departments, including an ultrasound room, an X-ray room, an ECG room, and a vaccination room. The camp is designed with all essential medical resources, ensuring readiness for a wide range of health needs. It also houses both a minor and a major operation theatre, equipped to handle various medical procedures. And additionally, an ICU is available for critical cases, ensuring immediate specialized care.
This is 300-bedded hospital. It's a temporary hospital. It included 13 specialist doctors. Total doctors are 30 here, already allotted by the governments. There are 25 ambulance services already allotted in this central hospital, and total ambulance services in Mela Kshetra is 125.
The authorities are leaving no stone unturned in ensuring safety and health for all the people who will be coming to this grand event. With camera person Rakesh Kumar, this is Siddharth Bharadwaj reporting for DD India in Prayagraj.
India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar is on a visit to Bengaluru. Upon his arrival at the city on Saturday, Vice President was welcomed by Karnataka's Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and other dignitaries at the airport. As part of his visit, he inaugurated the 25th National Conference of Chairpersons of State Public Service Commissions. Addressing the conference, Vice President hailed the transparency and accountability in law driven by public policies.
Fortunately, there is emergence of an ecosystem at the moment where transparency and accountability are driven by public policies and also by technological penetration. We are realizing something that had eluded us for long: equality before law. Now, these are twin principles of equality before law, transparency and accountability in governance, can get cutting edge only when recruit process to the governmental jobs inspires confidence.
Later, Vice President Dhankar also presided as the chief guest at Bharat Electronics Limited Research and Development Function, where he interacted with scientists and officials of nuclear power company. India's Union Home Minister Amit Shah chaired a regional conference on drug trafficking and national security in New Delhi on Saturday. The conference aims to address the growing concern of drug trafficking and its impact on national security. Addressing the conference, Home Minister hailed the record-breaking seizure of drugs worth Rs 16,914 crores last year.
हमारा ड्रग के खिलाफ जो अभियान है वो बहुत पुख्ता हुआ है। मुझे आप सभी को बताते हुए आनंद है कि वर्ष 2024 में जब्त ड्रग की मूल्यों का जो रिकॉर्ड है वो सभी रिकॉर्ड तोड़कर हम 16,914 करोड़ के ड्रग को जब्त करने में देश भर की पुलिस और एनसीबी को सफलता हासिल हुई। आजादी के बाद का ये सबसे बड़ा आंकड़ा है। यही इंगित करता है कि हमारे प्रयासों को सफलता मिल रही है।
India's Electronics and Information Technology Minister Ashwini Vaishnav on Saturday launched the Vega processor ASIC at Centre for Development of Advanced Computing in Pune. The program aims to establish India as a leader in electronics. As part of this, CDAC has developed the Vega series of microprocessors. Addressing a press conference, the minister said it is Prime Minister Modi's vision to make technology available to all.
10 months back, Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji approved India AI mission. And as you know, Prime Minister Modi ji always wants to democratize technology, which means technology should be accessible to all. It should be available to a very large number of people so that the creative energies across the country can be put into use.
Let's now take a look at other stories making news today. India's Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan flagged off second edition of Tata Steel Kapilaash Marathon on 2025 in Odisha's Dhankanal on Saturday. Some 5,000 people took part in the marathon with an aim to create awareness on biodiversity conservation and elephant protection. Two other bodies of mine workers trapped inside a coal mine in Assam's Dima Hasao region were recovered on Saturday. A joint rescue operation is underway by the teams of Indian Army and National Disaster Response Force. Out of 9 trapped miners, 3 bodies have so far been recovered from the flooded coal mine. On to sports news now. Defending champion Aryana Sabalenka, last year's runner-up Zheng Kevin, Alexander Zverev, Casper Ruud and others will be in action on the opening day of Australia Open, which begins on Sunday. World number 1 Sabalenka faces former US Open winner Sloane Stephens in Melbourne, while China's Zheng Shiben takes on Romanian qualifier Anca Todoni. Sabalenka will be hot favourite to secure an Australian Open hat-trick, having won the past 2 years at the Melbourne Park. In the men's singles, second seed Zverev opens his campaign against French wildcard Lucas Boeli, while sixth seed Casper Ruud will be up against Spanish tennis player Jean Muna. India's Sumit Nagal will be pitted against Thomas Mashak of Czech Republic. The three-day 18th Prasar Bharati Divas Convention 2025, held from 8th to 10th of January, came to an end on Friday. Here are some highlights of the culmination of the event that showcases India's bond with its diaspora, who are a living bridge to the world and a partner in Viksit Bharat or Developed India journey.
It is the diaspora that will help define our image as a resurgent civilization.
That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan this QR code on your screens to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.